Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of our shared past. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of 8th century China, amidst the tumultuous landscape of the Tang Dynasty, as we delve into the fascinating tale of the An Lushan Rebellion. This pivotal event, which shook the foundations of the Chinese Empire, is a testament to the complex interplay of power, loyalty, and rebellion that has shaped the course of human history. As we begin our exploration of this captivating story, let us set the stage by transporting ourselves to the year 744 CE in the vast and majestic city of Chang'an, the capital of the Tang Dynasty. Located on the banks of the Wei River, Chang'an was a hub of culture, politics, and commerce, with a population of over 1 million inhabitants. The city's impressive architecture, including the grand imperial palace, the magnificent Buddhist temples, and the bustling marketplaces, reflected the dynasty's wealth and power. During this period, Emperor Xuanzong, also known as Ming Huang, ruled China with wisdom and justice, having ascended to the throne in 712 CE. His reign is often regarded as the pinnacle of the Tang Dynasty's prosperity and cultural achievements. However, beneath the surface of this golden era, tensions were simmering. Regionalism, factionalism, and the struggle for power within the imperial court were all contributing factors that would eventually lead to the outbreak of the An Lushan Rebellion. One of the key figures involved in the development of this rebellion was An Lushan himself, a military leader of Turkish and Sogdian descent. Born in 703 CE, An Lushan rose through the ranks of the Tang army due to his exceptional martial skills and strategic thinking. He became the governor of Pinglu, a province located in modern-day Shaanxi, and later, the military commissioner of Fanyang, which gave him control over the northern territories. Another crucial figure was Yang Guozhong, a powerful eunuch who dominated the imperial court during Emperor Xuanzong's later years. Yang Guozhong's influence extended to the appointment of officials, the management of state affairs, and even the emperor's personal life. His rivalry with An Lushan would become a central theme in the events leading up to the rebellion. In the years preceding the rebellion, An Lushan had been busy consolidating his power base in the north, forging alliances with other military leaders and governors, and secretly gathering support among the disaffected elements within the Tang army. Meanwhile, Yang Guozhong, sensing the growing threat posed by An Lushan, began to take steps to counter his influence, including the appointment of his own loyalists to key military positions. The intricate dance of alliances and rivalries between these individuals, set against the rich cultural landscape of 8th century China, forms the fascinating prelude to the cataclysmic events that were about to unfold. As we navigate the complex web of events leading up to the An Lushan Rebellion, we find ourselves in the company of figures such as Zhao Xiangji, the renowned general who would eventually play a crucial role in the rebellion, and Fang Guan, the loyalist official who would become a thorn in the side of the rebels. As tensions between An Lushan and Yang Guozhong continued to escalate, the stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the Tang Dynasty. The rebellion, when it finally came, would be sparked by a complex interplay of factors, including regionalism, factionalism, and the struggle for power within the imperial court. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our journey through the tumultuous landscape of 8th century China, and delve deeper into the fascinating tale of the An Lushan Rebellion. As the rebellion gained momentum, An Lushan's forces swept across the northern provinces, leaving a trail of destruction and chaos in their wake. The city of Luoyang, the eastern capital of the Tang Dynasty, fell to the rebels in 756 CE, marking a significant turning point in the conflict. Emperor Xuanzong, realizing that his reign was under threat, fled the city of Chang'an, leaving behind his beloved concubine, Yang Guifei, who would eventually meet a tragic end. The rebellion had far-reaching consequences, not only for the Tang Dynasty, but also for the people of China. The conflict led to widespread devastation, with entire cities being razed to the ground and countless lives lost. The economy was severely disrupted, with trade and commerce coming to a grinding halt. The once mighty Tang army, which had been the backbone of the dynasty's power, was now in disarray, with many of its soldiers either defecting to the rebel cause or fleeing in terror. One of the most significant consequences of the rebellion was the rise of regional warlords, who would eventually become a thorn in the side of the Tang Dynasty. These warlords, who controlled large swaths of territory and commanded significant military forces, would play a crucial role in shaping the course of Chinese history for centuries to come. As we navigate the complex landscape of the rebellion, we find ourselves in the company of fascinating figures such as Shi Siming, a brilliant military strategist who would eventually succeed in Lushan as the leader of the rebel forces. We also encounter the enigmatic Emperor Suzong, who would ultimately lead the Tang Dynasty to victory against the rebels, but at great cost. The rebellion also had a profound impact on Chinese culture, with many of the great poets and writers of the time reflecting on the turmoil and upheaval in their works. The famous poet Du Fu, who lived through the rebellion, wrote eloquently about the suffering and devastation that it caused, leaving behind a lasting legacy of poetry that continues to inspire and haunt us to this day. As we explore the heart of the rebellion, we are reminded that the course of human history is often shaped by the complex interplay of power, loyalty, and rebellion. The An Lushan Rebellion, which lasted for over a decade, would ultimately lead to the decline of the Tang Dynasty. But it would also pave the way for the rise of new dynasties and the continued evolution of Chinese civilization. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we conclude our journey through the tumultuous landscape of 8th century China and examine the aftermath of the An Lushan Rebellion. The rebellion's aftermath was marked by a period of reconstruction and recovery, as the Tang Dynasty struggled to regain its footing. Emperor Suzong, who had ultimately led the dynasty to victory against the rebels, worked tirelessly to rebuild the economy and restore order to the ravaged countryside. However, the scars of war ran deep, and the dynasty would never fully recover from the blow. The rebellion had exposed the weaknesses of the Tang system, and the once mighty dynasty was now forced to confront the reality of its own decline. One of the most significant consequences of the rebellion was the rise of regional warlords, who would eventually become a dominant force in Chinese politics. These warlords, who controlled large swaths of territory and commanded significant military forces, would play a crucial role in shaping the course of Chinese history for centuries to come. The most notable of these warlords was Zhu Qi, who would eventually establish the state of Wu, one of the most powerful kingdoms of the Tang period. The rebellion also had a profound impact on Chinese culture, as many of the great poets and writers of the time reflected on the turmoil and upheaval in their works. The famous poet Du Fu, who lived through the rebellion, wrote eloquently about the suffering and devastation that it caused, leaving behind a lasting legacy of poetry that continues to inspire and haunt us to this day. Other notable poets, such as Li Bai and Wang Wei, also wrote about the rebellion, capturing the sense of disillusionment and despair that pervaded Chinese society in the aftermath of the conflict. As we reflect on the legacy of the An Lushan Rebellion, we are reminded that the course of human history is often shaped by the complex interplay of power, loyalty, and rebellion. The rebellion, which lasted for over a decade, would ultimately lead to the decline of the Tang Dynasty, but it would also pave the way for the rise of new dynasties and the continued evolution of Chinese civilization. The rebellion's impact can still be felt today, as China continues to navigate the complexities of regionalism, nationalism, and globalization. In the words of the great historian Sima Guangdou, the An Lushan Rebellion was a turning point in Chinese history, marking the beginning of the end of the Tang Dynasty and the rise of a new era of regional warlordism. As we conclude our journey through this pivotal event, we are reminded that the study of history is not just about understanding the past, but also about gaining insight into the present and future. The legacy of the An Lushan Rebellion continues to shape Chinese society, culture, and politics, serving as a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of historical events on human destiny. And so, dear listeners, as we conclude our exploration of the An Lushan Rebellion, we find ourselves at the end of a journey through one of the most tumultuous periods in Chinese history. We hope that you have joined us on this fascinating journey, and that you will continue to explore the rich and complex history of China with us in future episodes. Thank you for listening to History with Herodotus. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.